Another day, another chat about smart money moves. And today, we're going to be talking about what other types of assets you should consider holding in your portfolio besides stocks and bonds. Please subscribe so you get notified when we come out with new videos. However, there are a lot of other types of assets that you may want to consider, including in your portfolio. The primary reason for doing so is that these types of assets tend to have very low correlations with stocks and bonds. This can help reduce the volatility of your overall portfolio and lower your portfolio's beta. Investing in fine art can provide investors with a unique opportunity to own a piece of history while also potentially making a profit. This could include things like rare coins or stamps, sports memorabilia, or even vintage wines. Collectibles can be a fun way to invest, and they can also be a good way to diversify your portfolio. Hedge funds are typically only open to accredited investors, and they often charge high fees. However, hedge funds employ a variety of different strategies to generate returns, and they're often able to outperform the market. However, it's important to note that investing in collectibles can also be risky because the value of these items can be highly subjective and it can be difficult to determine their true worth. In addition, fine art is also considered to be a tangible asset. Private equity typically requires a minimum investment and can be challenging to cash out, meaning that it can be challenging to sell your investment if you need to raise cash. However, private equity investments have the potential to generate high returns, and they can also provide investors with a nice diversification benefit, which means that it has physical substance and is not dependent on economic conditions or market sentiment. Unlike other types of investments, such as stocks or bonds, beta is a measure of how volatile your portfolio is in relation to the overall market. Let's review several types of alternative assets that you may want to consider for your portfolio. Real estate is probably the most common alternative asset that people think of, and this could be real estate that you own personally, like the home that you live in, or it could be rental property. It could also be an investment in REITs. Of course, it's essential to conduct thorough research and carefully consider the risks and benefits of each type of investment before making a decision. If you decide to invest in alternative assets, it's also important to make sure that you have a diversified portfolio and that you're not putting too much money into any one type of investment, which are publicly traded entities that own and operate income-producing real estate. REITs are particularly useful for investors who want to invest in real estate, but don't necessarily want to own and manage properties directly. In addition, investing in REITs can provide some tax advantages as well. Many investors have become accustomed to investing in stocks and bonds, and this is typically the advice they receive from their financial advisors. Another popular type of alternative asset is precious metals, which would include things like gold and silver. Precious metals have been considered a safe investment for thousands of years, regarded as a store of value that can help protect against inflation. Many investors will choose to hold a small percentage of their portfolio in precious metals in order to help reduce its overall volatility. Another type of alternative asset that has become very popular in recent years is fine art. Collectibles are another type of alternative asset that may be worth considering. Private equity is another type of alternative asset that has become increasingly popular among investors in recent years. Finally, hedge funds are another type of alternative investment that may be worth considering. So those are some of the more common alternative assets that you may want to consider investing in. I hope that you found this video helpful.